Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Rangers Rabble podcast. This is your pre-match build-up to what is sure to be the biggest Old Firm game in recent history. I apologise for looking like Death's Door. I was driving all night and I didn't get back in the house until about 6 in the morning, so this is why I look like this. And believe it or not, Ian was up all night watching the wrestling and he still looks as fresh as a daisy. I don't know how he does it. But we're live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So whatever platform you're watching on, please do like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And Ian, you're going to have to pull me through it today, buddy, because I am exhausted. How are you?
I am doing all right. I am on edge, mainly because I've had I don't know how many cups of coffee to keep me going to watching the wrestling last night, so I'm a little bit wired. But tingly, nerves are going. I can't sit still, so we'll be doing well to keep me in my seat while we do this. We'll get each other through it, mate. We'll get each other through it.
I sincerely hope so. I absolutely sincerely hope so. But can I just say for everybody watching, it's just me and Ian today. It's just the two of us. So please get your points in, what you think of the team, which we'll go through. Let us know your thoughts on all of that, what you think of the game. Get some questions in and we'll try and answer them as absolute best we can. But Ian, we have to start with just how big this game is, how important this game is. It's a game that we can't afford to lose. It's a game that we really can't afford to draw. We just have to win.
This has been a long time since an Old Firm game has been this big. The last few seasons, by the time we've got to this point, especially, the league's either done or near enough done. I mean, when we did 55, the league was done at this point. We'd already won it. We're champions for a month. So it's just a big. I've never had a build-up like it where for a long time since my Battle Fever switch got turned on the minute that the Celtic game ended last Sunday. And as soon as that was it, the dial was on. And then I sort of calmed myself down. And then I heard Davey on Friday night, and that was it. I was like, kill them all. Just get them. I want to win.
Do you know Davey's intro on that Friday night? I've been doing this a long time, Ian, and he put me to shame. So he did. I normally just give it a hello and welcome. Please like and subscribe. Davey went full movie star, didn't he?
He did. He did a Graham Souness, planted his flag in the middle of the pitch, and just went for it. So from now on, he can host. I just hand it all over to him, Martin. I think it's his now.
Listen, I wish he was available right now to come on and do this, and I wouldn't have to come on with these bags under my eyes. But there we go. Right, okay. Let's get into the real important stuff. Let's get into the team. I mean, bottom and goal, back for a Tab, Goldson, Suter, and Sterling. And then it's a midfield three of Lundstrom, Diamande, and Lawrence. And then a front three of Wright, Silva, and Dessers. Ian, a few surprises in there.
There is a couple of surprises in there. I mean, we all wondered if Ridvan didn't make it, would it be Borna, would it be Sterling? He's gone with Sterling. I think that tells you everything you need to know about Borna for the remainder of the season. There was chat, I think on Friday they were having a chat about Lawrence possibly starting ahead of Cantwell, and it seemed to be the better point. But Scott Wright, that's a surprise. I wasn't expecting Scott Wright to be in there from the start. I don't think Scott Wright does well when he plays from the start. I think he is more of an impact player and is suited from coming off the bench. But devil's advocate point. We've got a lot of people returning from injury, so it's a choice of do I play the person who's fit to start or play someone who's going to last the 60 minutes and bring him on. He must do something in training that just catches everybody's eye.
I mean, yeah. There's so many questions coming in, right? And normally I like to go back, back to front and chronologically work our way through. But I think one of the biggest, obviously, Wright stands out. Obviously, Sterling stands out at left back and stuff. I get that, right? But the one that's jumping out at most people, Ian, is can Lawrence take the chance? I don't think he can make that key pass to open them up more defensive. And what we'll do is John take to his new position as he does every other one, right? So let's stick with the Lawrence. A lot of people are pointing out that they would have preferred Cantwell. For me, in the few games that we've seen Lawrence, I'm not saying Lawrence is a bad player or anything. I'm just saying he's looked leggy the last few games that I've seen him play. Cantwell's looked better, albeit not his full 100% self yet. Are you surprised that he's dropped Cantwell and brought Lawrence back in?
Not really. I think you can have Lundstrom and Diamande hold, like, doing the defensive work, and Lawrence can take the ball forward. He has got good feet, and he does like a shot from distance, which is something that we do tend to lack at times. And I know it's been a week, but the last game Cantwell did come off, and was an ice pack was put on again. So whether they just don't want to risk him this early on, maybe the fact that someone on the other team's not playing from the start either has influenced that decision. I don't know, but I think there's been a lot of chat this week about Lawrence starting ahead of Cantwell, and it seemed to be that everybody wanted it, and now it's happened. Like David Pease has said, a lot of people are saying it's a mistake and they should have started Cantwell. It's just one of those things as a Rangers manager. You can't win no matter what decision you make, because if they put Cantwell in, they said, "Oh, I don't know," because he gets carried away with this and he'll kick up a stupid booking, and then we're on edge for the rest of the game. Personally, I'm going to contradict myself here. I would have started Cantwell just because I think technically Cantwell's a better player than Lawrence, but what a weapon to be able to bring on off the bench later on in the game. Just to see that guy coming on. If you're already winning and you're trying to get back in the game and seeing Cantwell come on, it's just that bigs us up and knocks them down a little bit more.
So do you think it's just more of a fitness thing?
I think it may well be a fitness thing, because obviously the two of them have only just come back from injury as well. So Clement does have his system, the way he sets up. He does have his bringing the players back in the way he likes to bring the players back in, and maybe this is just that rotational change that he does to make sure that we're not overloading one player.
I mean, channel member John Scott Ranger, Lawrence is the right decision over Cantwell, but Robert Fraser is saying, worried if Lawrence has the legs to close down their midfield. The midfield battle is always something that wins this game for me, just because normally the quality the teams have at either end of the park, so the midfield battle is always key. Ian, in terms of that, who's better at that for you in that kind of central position, at that defensive work at closing down, at winning the ball back? Lawrence, Cantwell?
That one goes to Cantwell. Like, did you just watch the game? Cantwell was full of running and he chases back and he gets in. I hope it's a fitness thing, but you look through the season as it's gone, he's not been shy in making Cantwell take a rest. He's not been shy in pulling Cantwell off if he doesn't feel like he's doing what he's doing. So there could be a part of that. I don't know. Maybe my head is saying that this is just his fitness rotation that he likes to do. But for me, Cantwell tends to close down and tackle back a lot more for me. But look, over the season, I might, because we've not seen Lawrence that much, maybe we're not seeing that part of his game. But Lawrence does have that ability to hit one from distance, and he can, like, we've seen it over time. Go back way back to the first season he was here when he did it at PSV, hit the bar, and his lucky free kick at Ibrox, but he wasn't scared to take that opportunity on. So that's the positive from Lawrence. That he might not be as good at the defensive stuff, but then you've got Lundstrom and Diamande who can do that, and Dijon Sterling playing in the left back position, centre midfield, up front, in goal, wherever he wants to play. Which sort of rush goalies and he can go in there. But for me, I think it's the right choice, but I would have preferred Cantwell. It's one of those. I think
it's a weird one. I know. I get it. It's a weird one. It's an absolute weird one. Let's hear, and we won't discuss him right after it. We will discuss him a wee bit later on, but let's hear from Fabio Silva, who did speak to Rangers TV ahead of today's massive Old Firm.
Fabio, packed out Ibrox and Old Firm derby. How much are you and the boys ready to go?
Of course, it's a historic game. Everyone knows the history about the behind of this game. Everyone is with a lot of confidence to play this game. I think you don't need motivations to play this game. And we are ready. I think we do a very good week on trainings, and the coach tried to show to everyone what you have to do on the pitch. And I think we are ready to play this game, of course.
In a first Old Firm experience here at Ibrox for yourself, how excited are you for it?
I'm very excited because before I come here, always when this game happened, I always watch this game. So I'm very excited to play this game because it's a different environment, different experience. So I'm very happy to play. But of course, the most important is to be ready to help the team, since I do until now, to help the team with my movements in my position. So, and after the things come natural.
Yeah, and the team have obviously had a week to prepare for this. How have preparations been on the training ground?
No, it was very good. As I said before, I think at this moment of the season, you don't need to prepare too much, because the idea is there. So maybe you have to see some details of the other team. So this is the most important. But after, about us, I think that the ideas and the way we play is already there. So maybe we have to adjust some simple things. But I think the most important is there. And I think this game with personality, I think we're going to do a brilliant game.
Yeah, and just lastly, what qualities do you think are required from the team today?
I think the most important is to be together. I think in these games, these games can be decided in the small details. So you need to be ready. Don't lose the time or the space because it is a game against Celtic. So we want to show, or we want to do the different things what we do in the other games. So we need to do the same things we do in the other games. So this is what we do until now. This is what you bring us until now in this position. So we need to be the same. And after that, the things come natural, and it's going to be a good game.
He was asked there what qualities are needed. Ian, for me, Lundstrom and Diomande. And look, I get the defence needs to defend well, the attackers need to attack well. I get that. But Lundstrom and Diomande are probably the two most important people on the park, for me today anyway. That midfield rock that we're going to need. And we've seen in previous games how open we've been. Slightly different against Benfica. That was more to do with corners, about how open we were leaving ourselves. But we've seen it against Hibs. When Hibs got the ball and Hibs broke, there was loads of space. That's how Hibs got their goal. Fabio saying there that, we know what the manager wants us to do. It might just be a case of one or two tweaks. Lundstrom and Diomande, is that the tweaks that's needed? Don't leave so much space in the middle of the park.
Don't leave so much space in the middle of the park, and don't give them a second. Don't allow them to get in control. Do not allow them to do whatever they want in the middle of our pitch. It's different over their place, but here, this is where we are. We control this. This is our stadium. This is our game. We control this. Don't leave the space. Get in amongst them, and just act from the first whistle. Just be what we need you to be. The corner bit worries me, because if he does go a little bit Benfica, they've got. I don't know what their team is, so I haven't seen their starting lineup. But if it's Kyogo, which I assume it probably is, you can't leave that space because he is rapid. So that could punish us. But I don't think that we're going to do. I think the Benfica one was slightly different because we needed to. That was a game we needed to win on the night to qualify for the last 8 of the Europa League. So it was like, just do everything we possibly can. The Hibs thing, we've seen that goal time and time again this season.
The space we were leaving though in that game against Hibs, Ian, was incredible. And if you give and look, in fact, you said you haven't seen it, right? For the Celtic starting 11, it's Hart and goal, and then it's Johnson, Carter Vickers, Scales, and Taylor, and then it's Tomoki, O'Reilly, Hatate, and then it's Kuhn, Maeda, and Kyogo. So no Callum McGregor, which I think is massive for us in terms of that midfield battle. I have never heard of Tomoki. I don't know who he is. I've never seen him. Oh, is that Iwata? Right, there. I said I didn't know that. Right, so Iwata's starting in the middle of the park with O'Reilly and Hatate. So you asked for the team. Hatate, I think, is just back from injury, isn't he?
He is.
O'Reilly is pretty much the star man in that midfield, if you ask me. As much as I hate to admit it, I think O'Reilly is a smashing player, a very good player, and can be a game changer. Ian, and up front, I've not seen Kuhn in action, so I can't tell you if he's quick or not. But like you said, Ian, Maeda and Kyogo are rapid.
They are, so we can't leave that space. Simple as that. That space, and they need to tighten up, be on it, and don't give away the space, because you've got at least two people there who can run in behind without a problem. And I haven't seen much of Kuhn, but by all accounts, he's quite quick as well. I agree with you on O'Reilly. I think he's the one we need to get on to today. He's the one. Iwata, I remember the Hearts game, he came in for a lot of criticism. So maybe we could target him as someone who's got a mistake in him. But yeah, we just need to keep the space to a minimum, for them and control the game, and the rest should just come quite easily because our attacking flair, we do have attacking flair in this team, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, again, and I'll repeat myself, Ian, it's Lundstrom and Diamande for me against O'Reilly and Hatate, and possibly Olata, depending on what way Brendan Rodgers wants to approach this game. So does Lundstrom and Diamande, does that defeat, if you like, to try and use a wrestling term, does that defeat O'Reilly and Hatate? Or is that going to be a good competition?
I think it's going to be a hell of a midfield battle with those three because Hatate does kind of make them tick a little bit. I mean, if it was the three of O'Reilly, McGregor, and Hatate, then you'd have a little bit more to worry about because that's their strongest midfield three. But I think that's going to be one hell of a battle. And I think if we have the Lundstrom of a couple of seasons ago, which looks like at the moment we do, then he has a great opportunity to control that midfield battle and be that midfield general that we need for this game. I just don't want us to sit off.
No, I know. And just finally on them, because it's something that you can't ignore. Regardless of how they've been playing this season, regardless of how we clawed back 8 points, and there's been games where they haven't looked great. The man up front, Kyogo, always does it against us. Always scores. Doesn't always play well, but always scores in. He's a massive, massive threat. And Lundstrom, I'm Lundstrom in the head today. Goldson and Suter. And, of course, Sterling and Tav need to be on their game, because if you give this guy a second, he will score.
Definitely. I mean, you look at the 2 games previous, I think he's had two chances and he scored them both. And they were both cracking finishes as well. You can't take it away from that one at Parkhead, especially. Very little room. He's got Goldson in front of him, uses Goldson as a shield and curls it around him into the top corner. So you can't knock how good Kyogo is. But saying that, has he been on it this season? I shouldn't have said that. It's kiss of death. But, it's the way Rodgers plays is different to how Postecoglou played before him. And Postecoglou played to Kyogo's strengths, whereas Rodgers doesn't tend to do the same things. So I don't know. I don't think you can man mark Kyogo. I don't think that works. I think you're just going to have to pass him on because he does like to sit between the two and try and work on the space. So Goldson and Suter especially need to be on it because Sterling and Tav are going to be taking up Wakun and Maeda. And for once, I'd like to see Tav just put Maeda into the stand on the first tackle instead of standing off. Because I think if you can do that to Maeda first off, I think you'll probably take him out of the game. Kuhn's never experienced this before, and if he's up against Sterling, I think Sterling will put him in the stand. So that might be that Kuhn disappears completely, but you never know. It happens to our players. It's happened to our players. They've gone into the game all big and given it in the press the week leading up to the game. First tackle takes them out of the game, and they're quiet from there on. So we need to do what they do. We need to do the dark arts more, and just try and quell that thing up front.
I mean, that's a point you make about Tav and Maeda. Maeda has caused Tavernier problems in the past. I mean, look, when a guy's got that amount of pace, right, you can be the best defender in the world. Sometimes somebody just beats you for pace and there's nothing you can do about it, right? Especially if they're hitting on the break and you're trying to attack and the pace, you can't deal with it, right? But it's a big game for the captain. We have spoke, Ian, so much this season about how much more alert he is defensively, about how he's maybe not doing as much at those forward runs and ending up more as a central striker under Clement than what he has in the past. So if that is the case and he is dealing with more of a defensive side of his game, do you think Clement says to him, look, your job here is to defend, your job here is to stop them from scoring. I don't want to see you getting forward as much. Make sure you deal with Maeda. Or is it a case of, well, actually, no, we might need him. We might need him to create chances and score goals.
It's one of those. If you push Tav up and it makes Maeda follow him, then you're stopping Maeda doing what Maeda needs to do. But equally, the same thing that leaves the space in behind. And if Maeda runs into the space in behind and gets ahead of Tav, there's not many that's going to catch him. Maybe that's a reason why Scott Wright's in, because Scott Wright is quite rapid. So is it to double up and work on the pace of Maeda?
We'll come to Scott Wright.
Oh, we will come to Scott Wright. But the thing is, if you take the attacking prowess of Tav away, it weakens us going forward, which is it is a weird thing to say about a right back, but his numbers don't lie. It was 131, 32 goals, career goals, so that's a massive for us. But it does worry me, Maida and Tav, because it has caused us problems before.
And do you know what? Like you said, though, that does worry me slightly. But somebody who's not a left back, somebody who's predominantly right-footed, somebody who's turned out to be a shit-hot midfielder, let's be honest, Dujon Sterling coming into left back, and I hope I'm not giving it the kiss of death, Ian, but that doesn't worry me at all. I've got complete and total faith in Dujon to go in there and do that job against what people are telling me, and I'm not being flippant, I genuinely haven't seen much of Kuhn, but what people are telling me is a very good player in Kuhn. I have no issues or worries with Dujon Sterling's fitting in at left back.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, he's not given us any reason to worry because he's been put into positions that he probably doesn't really suit. I mean, the right wing position, for example, and I don't think anybody saw him playing at right wing, and he was superb at right wing. The central midfield role, he took to it like a duck to water, really, and he's been superb in every position we put him in. Honestly, I reckon if Butland got injured and you put Sterling in goal, he would be absolutely superb in there as well. So again, with you, absolutely no problems with Sterling being at left back, and I think he'll cope quite well. He'll do a Sterling job, you might say.
I just had the biggest coffin fit.
I know, I could see.
The biggest coffin fit in the world. I mean, yeah. And again, same actually kind of question with regards to Sterling playing at left back. I can't get rid of this chest. And how long's that been? 3 months? Will we see much of him going forward? Because there's no Borna. There's no Redvan obviously starting. It's Sterling. The one thing that we give Borna kudos for is his crossing, his ability to get a ball in a box. Redvan for his defensive side, but also the ability to get forward, and he can be quite tricky. How's that going to affect us on that left-hand side in terms of attacking?
I think you'll still see Sterling getting forward. I don't think that there's any issues there. Obviously, I don't know what his crossing from the left-hand side is going to be. Obviously, that is a little bit of taking it down because obviously Ridvan's crossing has been getting better. Obviously, we know what Borna brings. Borna's got a decent left foot when he gets forward and does get the cross in. But with that, Sterling can then cross it in with his left and cut in from the right. Being a right footer, if he cuts in from the right and gets an opportunity to shoot, will he take it? It opens up a lot. I mean, I quite like the idea of having a right foot on the left hand side because they're not going to know what to do. Don't worry, my camera will come back. I am still here. It's just swapped cameras, so but I'm not bothered with him playing on the left hand side. I think he can cross the ball, so we'll just have to wait and see what he does. But I think having him on the right, he can cut in, so that their defense isn't going to know what he's going to do. Is he going to go to the left or is he going to cut in? Because he's quite comfortable doing both. Whereas with Borna and not so much Ridvan, because Ridvan can do it as well, but definitely with Borna, if you try to get him to cut inside, that pretty much ends the move. So, and they'll just end up passing it back. So, yeah, I think Sterling could be quite handy on that left hand side, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and what does it say though? I mean, we've all had our opinions, and look, I haven't seen anybody who said that they would prefer Barisic in a left back to Dujon Sterling, right? Which is wild. If you actually just sit and think about it, it's actually wild, right? But what does that say about Barisic now that the manager's decided on what is by far the biggest game of the season to leave a recognised international left back out for a right back who can play well in midfield, who's not a left back? What does that say about Borna?
That either it's because he is on his way and he's signed a pre-contract, allegedly. It's not being officially confirmed, or it's just the manager is sim enough and has no confidence in him to do the job at all. I mean, one thing I will say for Borna when it comes to playing against Celtic, he's never let us down at Ibrox. He has let us down on more than one occasion at Parkhead, but being at home, I think he's a little bit more comfortable. He's never really let us down there. But I think his time has come, and it probably came a season or two ago. To be perfectly honest, I think after the Geo season to the Europa League, I think that was probably peak Borna going from 55 into that. I think that was peak Borna, and that was the time to get rid. But we didn't. And I just think his time's up. And I think the manager's now gone, right, I'm not going to be playing you. And as William in the comments just said it, like Balogun would probably be in line to start at left back before Barisic after Sterling. So I don't think the manager's got enough confidence in him to play him. I
know, which is a shame. Which really is a shame, to be fair. I'm not one of these guys who just wants to jump on the bandwagon, and I have done it in the past, which is slightly hypocritical, and just have a go at Borna, because he has been a good servant. Not great, but he's been a good servant to our football club. It's a shame the way that it's ending for him. Ian, right? Okay, this is the part of the pitch that worries me the most, Ian. And I don't know about you, but it's the front three, and I'll explain why. Scott Wright on the right, it'll be Silva on the left, and it will be Dessers through the middle. Now, if I just read you out the bench, Ian, it's McCrory, Cantwell, Matondo, Sima, Double, Balogun, Barisic, King, and McCausland. First of all, before I get myself into the hot water, I will ask you your opinion on Scott Wright starting this game.
In fairness to Scott Wright, last time out, he had a decent game. So I can understand Clement's thinking of, well, he had a decent game last time, we'll continue it, because I think we've said it enough times on previous pods that you only get better if you're playing consistently. And so having a good game and then pulling him out might have been a bit harsh. But again, it's that thing that he's the fittest one on the right we've got. Because McCausland's just coming back from injury. You could put Lawrence out there, you could put Diamande out there, but then you're losing something from the middle of the pitch. So he is the fittest guy, but he's a good player. He's not a great player. He'll do you a job, but his end product worries me. He doesn't always just think, well, I'll just whip this in. He always takes that extra touch, tries to beat the man again. So I just hope that the instruction is, if you get a chance, get the ball in, because we've got two guys in there that can head the ball. Well, at least one guy that can head the ball. I think Dessers and Silva, they can interchange, they can swap about. So you could even pull Dessers out, put Silva through the middle, and have Dessers play the ball into him. So Scott Wright won. He had a good game last time, so he probably deserves to get another chance. And he is the fittest on the right side we've got. So I just think it's lack of options currently that's done it. And to have McCausland and Seymour on the bench, and Matondo, at least we've got strength to come in should we need it.
I mean, is it a case of pace, Ian, with regards to Scott Wright? And I say that because Celtic are playing Greg Taylor at left back. Now, I'm not going to sit and slag Greg Taylor, because I think the last time I done that, it came back to bite me on the arse, because I think he actually had a pretty decent game against us. From memory, I'm pretty sure it was Greg Taylor. But as Clement maybe looked at that and went, in terms of defence, that's probably the weakest point. And I'm not saying he's a bad player, I'm not saying he's mince, I'm just saying that's the weakest area of their defence, because I do highly rate Carter Vickers. I think Carter Vickers is a very, very, very good centre-back, and we're going to need to be, in fact, we'll come to that in a wee second. Let's just stick with Scott Wright. Seamer's on the bench, not fully fit. I don't think it would have been fair to start him. McCausland has been back for a while now, however, not really been brought in to the first team fold. Read into that what you will. Is it a case of pace on that right-hand side, Ian? Is that why he's been selected?
I would like to think so, because the one thing that Scott Wright has in abundance is pace. He's got quite good feet, and he does like to. He's difficult to read as a player. If you're a defender, he's a difficult player to read, because you don't know if he's going to go around your outside or cut into the inside. And he has got quite a decent turn as well. So yeah, maybe that is his pace, and he can knock it by and run. And has Taylor got it to be as quick as Scott Wright? I mean, Taylor is a decent player as well. We don't like him. I don't like him, but he can't knock his ability. He's in that team for a reason, and he keeps his place for a reason. So maybe it's just the pace aspect. But I mean, McCrory, he's in goal on the bench, and the other one's in Bristol. So, who was I looking for? McCausland. He has been back for a while, but the international break, he didn't play for Northern Ireland because of injury. So, maybe again, it's just a case of he's not quite ready to do a full 90 minutes. And Clement was saying in the press conference that he's got decisions to make because he's got players that can start but can't last 90 minutes. So do I start them or do I bring them on later? And I think you can't go against Clement. So he's made the right choices for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's made like you say, he's made the right choices with what's available and who's available for a length of period of time, if that makes sense. So I take that point, and let's have a quick discussion here about Silva on the left-hand side. Flattered to deceive against Hibs. I hope that's fair. I hope that's a fair comment. But there's just something for me when you have a player who is worth what he's worth and who has played as well as what he has played and has obviously done well in Portugal to get his move then to England. You tend to see the best from the big players in the big games, and I'm just hoping that we see that from Silva today.
Yeah, I would say that flatters to deceive was in my head. So, and I don't think it was just against Hibs. I think he's flattered to deceive in a few games so far this season. But like you said, the big games bring out the big players. Benfica, for example, I thought the first leg against Benfica, he was pretty sensational out there. Bit quieter in the second leg, but the Hibs game, they did, like someone pointed out in the post match after that they did put 2 players on him to try and stop him. I don't think that Celtic will do that, so you'll have a little bit more space to play with. And the fact that it's not going to be your typical SPFL team game where they stick 11 players behind the ball and there'll be more space for him, you might well see a better performance from Silva today. Like you say, £35 million. Yes, it's the EPL, and £35 million is probably what, £1 million, £2 million in the SPFL. But you've still got to get. I mean, like Wolves is mini Portugal, isn't it? Really, there's so many Portuguese players in there. They actually made an away strip that was Portuguese shirt colours. But you've still got to be good enough to get the move to the EPL, because you can't fake it in the EPL. It doesn't work. So, and he's highly thought of in Portugal. £35 million. I want him to prove me wrong, but he has flattered to deceive, and I'm not completely sold on him. So I want him to prove me wrong today, and I want to see something from him.
Cyril Dessers, Ian, the enigma that is Cyril Dessers. Could there have been an argument? I mean, it's really difficult after 10 or 15 minute performance. Could there have been an argument to play Silva through the middle and bring Matondo in that left hand side, or does Big Cyril deserve the opportunity to shine?
He scored it in the last game, which is what you want your strikers to do. The unfortunate thing is it takes 15, 16 chances for him to put that ball in the back of the net. I think we need to give him chances where he hasn't got to think about it, though. Just lay it on a plate and let him do what he does, because if he thinks about it, I mean, you saw it at their place last time out. You saw it when he played for Nigeria. When he's got time to think, he tends to make the wrong decision. But something he's got to do quickly, like the goal against Hibs with the header, bang, in off the bar, done. That's his strength. So play to that. It turns out he can head the ball, because early on in the season it didn't look like he could head the ball. So just we've got to get it in there. He's gonna just work out for himself today, because like you said, we'll touch on him. But Carter Vickers is a different animal compared to most of the centre backs in the league. But himself has also just come back from injury, so we need to be testing him. We need to be running at him. Because has he got that turn of pace? Can he turn it quick like he was before? Because he's had quite a substantial injury himself, so we need to play against that.
Has he got the legs, to deal with defending for vast majority of the game? Carter Vickers, in terms of the amount of defending that he would usually have to do for Celtic against the lesser teams. I think that's massive. I think that's massive for the game. Ian, if I'm being brutally honest with you, McGregor out for them, and Carter Vickers not 100% fit. We need to take advantage of that. You can say what you want about the kind of player that you think Callum McGregor is. He makes that Celtic team tick. He 100% absolutely does. And Cameron Carter Vickers is an excellent central defender who gets them through games. And he's one of the guys. He's not just strong. He's not just quick. He can pass the ball, but he's also an extremely intelligent defender as well. He always gets himself into the right positions. And in the times that I've seen Celtic, which I'm not going to sit here and lie, it hasn't been loads. He's very good for them when I've seen anyway. When it comes to defending corners, and I think that's something that we'll go on to in a wee second, Ian. But we need to take advantage of the fact that their captain is out and that their best central defender, one of the best central defenders in the league, I don't think anyway, is 100%.
Yeah, we need to take advantage of that situation. Like you said, McGregor in the middle of the park is usually the one that controls it, and replacing him with Iwata definitely weakens their midfield. So we need to take advantage of that while it's happening. I don't think they're going to risk McGregor unless they really, really need to. So we need to make them make that decision. And as for Carter Vickers, he was highly thought of amongst Spurs supporters. For whatever reason, I think the EPL it's worse in England than it is in Scotland for trying to get your youngsters in, particularly on the ones that aren't able to just bleed their youngsters in amongst people who can win your titles. So he was never really going to get the chance at Tottenham. And he's a very good defender, very intelligent, and he holds that back line together. But he has had quite a significant injury, which has kept him in and out of the Celtic team all season. And as someone's already pointed out, they do not like Paul McCorrickle has said, they don't like people running at them. So that's what we need to do. We've seen this season, that they don't like it when people go at them, whether it be in Europe or in the home. Hearts have done it. Aberdeen even did it at one point, just the once. And they just don't like it. So that's what we need to do. We don't sit off. Like I said at the start, this is our pitch. This is our place. We control it. Let's get at them and see if they can cope with it.
Well, I mean, it's our pitch, it's our place, and it's all our fans. There is no Celtic supporters in, which should also be a massive boost for us. Let's not beat around the bush. That should be an absolutely massive boost. So you mentioned that there. So how does Clement set up for this game then, Ian? There's been a few people saying that they're worried that we sit back and that we try and absorb pressure and then we try and break on them. And there's other people saying, I'm worried that they're going to sit back and absorb the pressure and then try and break on us. So how does Clement approach this? Is it a case of from the minute that whistle goes, you get at them, you get the ball, you win the ball, you attack. If you lose the ball, you win the ball back. Is it 90 minutes of pure bedlam?
I think it's one of those that Stevie G used to say. It's just, we've got this game, we've got Dundee, and we've got one more after that before the split. Go out and leave it all out on the pitch today. Go and just from minute one get at them and force them back. Don't make. They're not. I think they will sit back and look to hit us on the break with the pace of the three they've got up front. But we don't let them sit back and do it. We force them back so that the three up front have to come back and help. That way they can't break. That's the way I would play it. But that's probably the reason why Clement is in the hot seat at Ibrox and I'm not. Because he probably won't do that. He will probably have Lundstrom and Diamande swap between the two of them and be the anchor in that midfield. While the other one pushes forward, but I don't think he's going to. I would like to think he's going to just close up the spaces and have that anchor in the midfield to try and stop them from breaking away. I don't see Clement doing a Walter Smith and trying to soak up the pressure and hit on the break. I just don't see that from Clement at all. So I think he'll kind of take the game to Celtic, but he will have that anchor in the middle of the park just to make sure that if they do break, we've got extras there.
In terms of set pieces, Ian, this is the big worry for me in terms of defending set pieces and in terms of attacking set pieces. It's been a bit of an Achilles heel, especially attacking set pieces, and it's such a big part of the game. And a lot of these games have been won. If you remember the Callum McGregor own goal at Ibrox, if you remember Nikola Katic and the 2-1 at Parkhead, set pieces can be huge in these games. And I think that's just one side of the game that slightly worries me because I'll sit here and be brutally honest. I don't know what they're like for set pieces.
What I don't want to see another out-swinging corner. I want to see in-swinging corners, particularly with the weather being the way the weather is. Today is set up for an in-swinging corner. I mean, as much as their pitch is awful and we'll be lucky to be playing on it on Wednesday night, Dundee showed you that yesterday. They scored from a corner. Because it's windy, get the right whip on it. I mean, we are so much better when it's an in-swinger than it is an out-swinger. I don't know why we've gone back to out-swingers. It's really doing my head in. But for the defensive side of things, that's my biggest worry is set pieces because they've got some big players who can head the ball and we've got to be strong with it. But this is usually where you find Goldson coming onto his own He does like these games, and he is strong. And when Connor's on it, it's hard to beat him. Suter does worry me a little bit because he's not playing in his natural right-sided defensive position, and there is a mistake in him. We've seen it. But we just got to be better. But the statistics for corner is that I think it's only 3% of corners ever end up being resulting in a goal. So,
Is that for us, or is that just in general?
In general, all over.
So what is it for us then?
1%. We tend to 1 in every 3 seasons.
that's pretty evident. Right. Aye. In terms of the game, then, let's be honest. Let's put our feelings out there, Ian, and we'll talk about the bench in a wee second. But in terms of the game, then, we've discussed the players, we've discussed the game plan. Are you confident?
I am. I'm probably nervously confident, but confident all the same. There's a different feel to this today. Like I said, the times you go into games thinking, all right, there's a chance, there's a possibility. I just feel there's something different about this. I may come back after the game and I've been made to eat those words, but I really do feel confident that this is our time today. I really, really do. I don't know what it is, but I'm just confident that we can do this today.
It's massive for Clement as well, Ian. He's had such a phenomenal start to his Rangers career, and let's not forget how early in his Rangers career it actually is as manager. He's managed to claw back that gap. He's won us a trophy, albeit it was the final that he participated in, but he's won us a trophy, and we're still in the Scottish Cup. But today just feels even bigger for him. It's almost as if, like, you've done so well, Philip. You've none of us are questioning your managerial ability, but you need to win this game.
Yeah, because I think the Aberdeen, out of all of them, you think Aberdeen, we won that one. Then we played them at their place, and albeit we lost somewhat controversially, you might look at it that way. And there's the little face again. And Benfica, he's tried his best. But I mean, they were a particularly good team. But Benfica, I know people say that they were there for the taking and all the rest of it. But like you said, 3 World Cup winners in their team, they were a good team. But it's getting to that point now. Is can he do it in the big games? And he needs to prove a point. I think he's done extremely well this season, considering where he came in. Like you said, considering where he came into and the position we were in. I think he's done a fantastic job. And if the worst should happen, I don't want people to turn on him because this isn't his team. His team will come next year. But if he can get this job done, then we always say, he says he's not, when he came in, he's not Harry Potter and he doesn't have a wand. If he turns this around and wins us the league, not only is he has a wand somewhere, he is the headmaster of Hogwarts.
Can I just say that was excellent control there, Ian? See the fact that you could remember what you were talking about and you weren't thrown off. That deserves a gold star, my friend. That was impressive.
I mean, putting my hand over her mouth probably wasn't the best idea.
That was an absolute gold star. Oh, I have to say. Right, listen, there's just over 10 minutes to go before the game. I think we might just actually leave it there. And we'll give everybody 10 minutes to go and get their stuff ready, get their beers out, their coffees, their teas, and have your 10-minute mad rant at the telly when you hear something that you don't like. We will be back shortly after the game for full instant match reaction. It's myself, Ian, and who else is on, Ian?
Connor, was it not?
Was it Connor? Myself, Ian, and Connor. Hopefully we're back talking about a famous... In fact, sorry, no, I can't go, Ian. I can't go without asking, actually. And I'm going to put you on the spot. We win today. If we win today, is that the league? Is that a title decider?
This... Do you know what? Yeah, for me it is. I think win today, and that puts us in pole position, and then follow that up with a win on Wednesday, and then that's it. I think the league's done because we'd have to drop a lot of points between now and the end of the season for it to turn around. And yeah, so I think today's massive. Win it today, and I think one hand on the trophy.
And obviously, we don't want it. Of course, we don't want it. Who does a draw suit today?
I don't think it suits either of us, perfectly honest, because a draw for them, all right, it keeps them top. But if, again, we win on Wednesday night, or when we win on Wednesday night, that would still put us top of the league as far as I can tell. So that doesn't suit them, but a draw doesn't suit us either, because it would be a very short gap, which puts more pressure on us. And so I don't think a draw suits either team. So I think you're going to find two teams going at it that they're trying to get those 3 points. I'm discounting the draw.
And I know I said I was going to go in, right, and I apologise, but I forgot all about it, and I have to ask. I've already read it out, but I'll read it out again. The bench is McCrory, Cantwell, Matondo, Sima, Dibble, Balogun, Barisic, King, and McCausland. Your quick thoughts, Ian, on the bench. I'm looking at Cantwell. I'm looking at Matondo. How fit is Sima? I don't know. Kieran Dowell, I would be amazed if he got any minutes. And McCausland as well on that bench. Your thoughts on the bench and their ability to change a game?
Well, we do have depth. We do have depth in that bench. So I definitely
depth in your house as well.
Yeah. Get him on. He's got his kit on. Right, go. Just go. Yeah, so Seema, I definitely think you're going to see Seema. I think you'll see Matondo. McCausland will come on for right at some point. But we have got depth there for a change. It's nice that we've got a bench that can actually change a game. I don't want us to be reactive to things that happen. I want us to be proactive, that we use the bench our way, not because something else has happened. But it's nice to have a nice strong bench, and there's at least four decent strong changes there that doesn't weaken the team, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, 100%. And right before we're interrupted again, then I think we'll call it a day there, Ian. Thank you very much, my friend, for joining me. Thank you to everybody watching. The last time I checked, we were 100 subscribers on YouTube away from 10,000. So if that's your preferred platform and that's what you're watching on, and you haven't already, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button, and of course leave a like. It helps to share the video across the YouTube algorithm. If you're watching on Twitter and you haven't already, give us a follow and retweet this as well. And if you're watching on Facebook, give us a like and share and follow on Facebook if you haven't already as well. So yes, time is upon us. The biggest Old Firm game of the season is about to take place. Battle fever is most certainly on, even though I look like death warmed up. I'm not going to lie to you folks. So here we go, folks. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're liked. Make sure you've got the notifications switched on so you know exactly when we're coming back for what is hopefully the most enjoyable reaction of the season so far.